Good morning, everyone. Thank you all very much for joining. It is Game Week 19, the deadline stream. Fingers crossed everything is working okay, because just before I went live, the stream sort of software, as I went to click go live, instead of going live, it crashed. I have no idea why. And then when I opened it, I got this like error message. And then I'm also streaming on shared Wi-Fi again. So fingers crossed that everything works as it should over the next couple of hours. Of course, it is the Game Week 19 deadline stream. Fingers crossed everything is working okay. If you could just let me know in the chat, thumbs up and all that you can see and hear me as you normally can. This is the final stream I will be doing before I'm back in my usual setup going into Game Week 20, which from a streaming point of view, there's nothing like streaming from your own setup and your own desk. But we are here regardless. Thank you all very much for joining. It is Game Week 19. Before we dive in, let's say hello to a few of you in the chat. Say hello if you're in. We'll go round and do the usual bits of hellos. My equipment is all really low on battery again. So probably good I plug it in and charge it. Hello to Kane. Hello to Gavin. Hello to Alex. Hello to Summit. Hello to all the moderators and members in. Thank you very much for all of your support on the channel, particularly over this festive period and putting up with me being quite as busy as I have been. Mr. Was Up, Jake, Charlie, David, Blob, Ronnie, Mario, MVP, Colin, FPL Luco, Gavin, Europa, Hassan. How are we? Callum, Nitro, FPL Barney, Christian, Sam, Mark, Ahmed, Naeem, Nikki, Diehard Kid, 4D, Chico, Raj, Thomas, FPL Espo, Khalid, Discgriff, Oliver, Leo, Ben, Pete, and everyone else. Thank you all very much for joining on this Sunday FPL deadline, which is a little bit weird, I have to admit. Having a Sunday deadline is a bit strange. That camera is also not in a very good spot. It's miles above the chat, so I'll be having a look that I'll be looking at. God knows what view I just gave you all then, but that's probably a little bit better. And then I've got the TV up in the corner where I can't actually see what's going on. There we go. So let's talk about my transfer plans first of all. So my team is up on screen now. Sorry, it will have Ahmad in the starting 11 over Bruno Fernandes. I plan on rolling my transfer this week. I still don't love the replacements for Bruno Fernandes enough. I didn't love the replacements for Bukayo Saka enough, really. So I plan actually to roll my transfer this week. The only slight dilemma I've got is who do I bench? Mikalenko staring at me at home to Nottingham Forest, second on my bench. Doesn't feel quite right. So there's a chance that I bring him in. It potentially could be in place of João Pedro. It could be Enzo. It could be Ahmad. It could even be Jackson. I know a few of you asking in the chat about the chances. Blob is just asking about the chances of Jackson being benched. I think it's a pretty low chance. Given that Chelsea have, what's that? Haven't won in 2 games and 1 point in their last 2. It does make me think that there will be less rotation than maybe there could have been in this fixture if we'd been winning games and looking as free-flowing as maybe we were before. Maybe he'll use this as an opportunity to change things up because we are dropping points, but personally, I don't see the mass rotation for Chelsea that maybe we expected. I expect maybe a change at I think Gusto's at risk. I think there could be a change maybe at centre-back. I don't know if Tosin will definitely play. I don't know if the wingers will definitely play. Of course, I don't know if Jackson definitely will. I don't think Colwill will, personally. Particularly with Fofana out. I don't see there being... I know people go back to that Southampton game that we played midweek where there was a lot of rotation. I don't expect to see it to the same level. At all. I expect maybe 2 or 3 changes from the previous lineup. I might be wrong, of course. It may be wrong. But yes, yeah, couple of super chats, sorry, while I was just getting the stream started. Who to bench? Enzo and Burmo or Timber? You have Gabriel. Probably Enzo Fernandes out of that. I mean, if Timber is a back four, then maybe you play Enzo and Mbermo and bench Timber, but I would probably bench Enzo out of those. If you are in need of a wildcard draft, some of you asking in the chat already, I did a wildcard draft in my team selection video yesterday. My team selection video wasn't really a team selection video. It was basically a cover everything and anything in 25 minutes video. And I did cover a wildcard draft in there quite briefly. But if you're wanting to have a look at what a wildcard draft would look like, go and check out that video because there is one in there for you. Right, what else were we asked? Bench one of Hall, Robinson. I'd play Robinson over Hall, definitely. And Mbermo, Rodgers, and Jesus. Jesus definitely starts. It's Mbermo versus Rodgers. Let me just get up my ranking for you. I'd play Rodgers over Mbermo probably, is what I've got. And it doesn't seem to be going round and round, so let me correct that for you. There we go. That should be fixing it. Start two of Ahmad, Castagna, Rodgers, or Ahmad and Y. Well, Ahmad is in there twice. So Ahmad, Castagna, Rodgers. Rodgers is probably the one I'd bench. Ahmad versus Rodgers is pretty close. Actually, probably Rodgers over Ahmad just because Manchester United will be out without Bruno Fernandes this week. Pedro to Jackson for a hit. No, I wouldn't be doing that given we're not 100% certain Jackson will start. And Callum, thank you very much for 7 months. Sarr or Semenyo, Harry? Sarr, definitely. Definitely would be buying Sarr if I was looking to buy one. Sarr, I think, is the best Crystal Palace attacker. Like, I think he's a better pick than Eze. I think he's a better pick than Mateta. Even without, well, I mean, partly with value built in, but even without the value built in, I still think he's just a better pick than the others you've got in that Crystal Palace team. So, yeah. Watkins. So, I mean, I spoke about Watkins a little bit on my video yesterday. Watkins is fine, but the issue with Watkins, if I get... let's change this one into what we need. So if we have a look at Watkins... So the next two are good in Brighton at home, Leicester at home. But then we just don't know if he's going to keep his place. Like when Duran is back from his suspension, and Duran only misses 2 games because he's suspended in the cup as well. We just don't know in game week 21 if it's going to be Watkins staying in or if it's going to be Duran. Now, it may well be Watkins, and then Watkins over the next sort of 10 games is actually a really, really nice pick. But I just don't know how likely it is that Watkins stays in the team for Everton away in game week 21. If I knew that Watkins would stay in, then I think Watkins is a really, really good pick. And I would probably be looking at doing like Bruno to Sarr and João Pedro to Watkins if I knew Watkins was nailed. But I don't know that. I just don't know Watkins is. Like some of these fixtures are really good. Like all the way up until like game week 28 is a really nice run for Watkins. So yeah, if you have the luxury that you can go there, I don't mind it. You just run the risk that in a couple of weeks you are with a striker that's not starting again. Because it does look like Duran had taken Watkins' place. And just because he got sent off doesn't necessarily mean that he will. I have a little dog joining me outside. Hi, Ivy. Oh, the door isn't shut. That's probably why. You'll probably hear me talking. Who to start, Iwobi or Rodgers, and Dean or Mikalenko? Mikalenko, definitely I'd play. Iwobi or Rodgers, I'd definitely play Iwobi in that situation. It's a good fixture for Fulham, I think. Maybe I think in a lot of my videos this week, I've spoken quite positively about Fulham and thinking their assets are pretty good buys. They've got a nice run of fixtures over the next few weeks. So if you are looking to buy, I don't mind a punt on someone like a Rodgers or someone like an Iwobi or a Robinson. The only thing with the forwards is trying to predict who plays up front for Fulham, because last game, I think it's been... So if we get Rodrigo Muniz up... So Muniz started against Southampton, didn't start Chelsea and scored the winner off the bench. So does that mean that he's going to start this one and Raul Jimenez isn't going to play? It does feel like they're rotating a little bit. And you know, Jimenez hasn't scored since the draw with Arsenal. So I don't fully know if I'd be buying a Fulham striker at the moment, because I just don't think we know who's going to be starting every week. Enzo to Sarr for free, worth it today. I mean, I could do that transfer. It may well be worth it. But I also think that rolling my transfer is just more important for me at the moment. I need to build up a couple of transfers. So I do think over the next 2 game weeks, I'm probably going to roll, and then I'll probably roll again. So yeah. Long-term goalkeeper plans, Raya or someone else. It would either be Raya, if not it would be Henderson, or Henderson sells Pickford probably. I mean, I'm not going to sell Raya because he just continues to tick along pretty nicely with a clean sheet every couple of games. And they conceded 0.16 XGC against Ipswich, 0.09, 0.16 against Fulham, like 0.02 against United. Their defence is so strong at the moment. I'd have no plan on selling Raya. If I was buying new, would I buy Raya? Maybe not. I'd probably buy Henderson or Pickford, but I'm definitely not looking to sell. I'm definitely not looking to sell Raya at the moment. Should I start Munoz or João Pedro? If you've got any Crystal Palace player playing against Southampton, you have to play them. So that hopefully answers that Munoz I'd play over... I play Munoz over João Pedro. João Pedro is an interesting one. If there are still injuries to Ferguson and Welbeck, then he should be playing 90 minutes up front again against an Aston Villa team who are very mixed defensively. So I don't know. At the moment, I don't love the João Pedro pick, but I also don't particularly know where I would go. Like, I could do João Pedro up to, like, I don't think I can even get to Mateta. So, yeah, I think I'll just hold on to him again this week. At the end of the day, he's cheap enough. He's playing 90 minutes. He's on penalties. And Brighton have been very good at times this season. It's just not now. This is not the moment where they're playing well. Watkins in for João Pedro. Again, if you can afford João Pedro up to Watkins, then yeah, I probably would do that if I could do a massive upgrade like that. But I imagine most of us can't afford to do it. I could do it if I downgraded Sarr, but again, I'd want to know if I'm taking a hit for Watkins, I'd want to know that he keeps his place in the long term, which we don't know at the moment. Like Bruno to Sarr and João Pedro to Watkins would most likely pay off for me this week for a hit, I would say. I mean, I would have to bench someone. But, yeah, I'm not certain on that. Palmer, captain shout. I don't hate it. Chelsea have been a little bit sluggish going forward recently. It's not been quite as free-flowing. Palmer's been really good, though. So, I don't hate it. I still think that Salah against West Ham is likely to be the captaincy shout this week. Colwill or Castagna? Colwill or Castagna? Castagna. Definitely play the attacking one. They might even stick with the wing-backs. We don't know if the wing-back experiment for Fulham was just a Chelsea thing or if it's something they might do now that they have 3 very good centre-backs playing well. And with doubts to the likes of Sander Berge and stuff like that. And if they stick with a back 5 with Castagna and Robinson, those two are going to be such good buys. So, with the chances that they might, I'd just start Castagna this week. Would I risk playing Colwill and Jackson? I mean, my prediction would be they both start. So it depends if you have a bench cover for them. But yeah. I probably wouldn't personally. I wouldn't worry about Colwill and Jackson that much. Start 2, Rico Lewis, Colwill, Joe Gomez and Saliba. Saliba definitely starts. And I'd probably play Rico Lewis and just chance City doing something against that Leicester team, because Leicester have been absolutely dreadful. So yeah, that's probably what I would do. Currently starting Madueke and Jackson, not much bench. I probably think Madueke will start today. If he's back in the good books, he'll start. Could roll or go Stewart to Watkins and Fast to Trent, Munoz, and bench Ahmad or Madueke. I mean, if you could do Fast to Trent for free or Munoz for free, I still think it's an upgrade, so I probably would have a look at that. We don't have much of an update on Flecken or Fabianski. Basically, that they were going to look at tests. I'd be very surprised if Fabianski plays, given the injury that he seemed to go off with. Fabianski, Flecken, we don't really know. He did sort of walk off in the game, which does make me feel a little bit more positive that he might just play. So Flecken, I think, is close. Fabianski, I'd be surprised if he plays. I reckon if I had to make a prediction, I'd say neither start. I'd say there'd be no Flecken and no Fabianski, particularly because Areola did okay and Valdemarsson did fine as well. So it's not like they had an absolute howler where they feel like they might need to force them back in. So, and also like maybe Brentford look at it and think it's Arsenal and let's not take that risk. Ahmad or Cunha, definitely play Cunha if you've got him. Again, going up against that Spurs defence who have about one first choice fit centre-back at the moment. If you have Cunha, unfortunately for me, he continues to not get his ban. And yeah, just continues to look very, very good. I think he's the highest scoring forward in FPL now. And every week he continues to just punish me. Semenyo or Ahmad? Probably Semenyo. Just because we don't know how good United are going to be. Like, I actually look at Ahmad and think I'm absolutely fine with him to keep. Because any game they've done anything in, he's involved. Like, they scored twice against City, he got returns. They scored against Forest, they got returns. They scored against Everton, he got returns. They scored against Ipswich. Like, whenever they score, Ahmad is involved. It just doesn't help that they don't always score. But, like, I still look at this run of fixtures and think, until game week 24, or even beyond that, like with Ipswich, some of those, I plan on keeping Ahmad. I plan on keeping him. Semenyo or Iwobi is a closer one. I probably would go Iwobi out of the two there. Probably. Congratulations on your 150k. Thank you, and thank you all very much for your support. Hitting 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year is a very nice feeling. So thank you all very much. Yeah, greatly appreciated. I'm glad you're all enjoying the content this season. It's nice to hear. Nice to see. Is triple captain Salah? No. I mean, if you didn't triple captain him against Leicester, I don't think he's a triple captain against West Ham. There's still more doubles to come. It's going to be a no for me on the triple captain this week. Bruno and Dibbling to Sarr and Kulu -4, or Bruno to Sarr, no -4. It depends who you're benching, Sam. If you're happy to bench, like if Dibbling's just on the bench, then it's not worth a -4. But if you are doing Dibbling to Kulu to start him, then yeah. So sell Robinson to Munoz, same team as Mikalenko. Definitely not. I wouldn't be selling selling Robinson or Munoz. You just have to keep what you've got, I think. I'd keep what you've got. I saw a pigeon yesterday, actually. Bruno to Son or Sarr. I wouldn't go buying Son. If you've watched Spurs at all recently, you will definitely don't want Son in your team at the moment. Yeah, hot topic card is blank. Let me turn it off just because I don't have anything to put in there at the moment. Bowen to Iwobi. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'd probably buy Sarr over Iwobi, but yes, I don't mind buying either of those. I don't mind either. Do I like Ahmad as a buy over Rodgers? I mean, I prefer Sarr over Ahmad or Rodgers. I mean, over the next two, no, Rodgers is definitely better, right? He's got Brighton and then he's got Leicester. Long term, I still like Ahmad. And I still think he keeps his place in that front three of Manchester United. But yeah, maybe Rodgers is safer with some of the fixtures they've got coming up. But I mean, I sold Rodgers because I needed the money, but maybe it wasn't the best idea. It would have been a fine idea if Saka didn't get injured because I needed the money. when before Saka got injured, and then Saka's out for like the season, and then I don't need the money anymore. But anyway, would I start Hall or Levi Colwill? I'm not sure I have Colwill on my benching ranking. Where would I put him in relation to Hall? I probably would put Lewis Hall above Colwill and hope you get an attacking return, because I don't expect a clean sheet for either Chelsea or for Newcastle this week. So I probably would go Hall over Colwill and hope for an attacking return. Mikalenko or Robinson, again, if you've got Robinson, I'd play him. The attacking threat is much greater. They may still stick... it may still stick with those sort of wing-back formations. So if it was to stick, you definitely want to have Robinson in your team. So, Majed, I'm thinking of rolling. What do I think your team? Verbruggen, Gabriel, Robinson, Trent, Palmer, Salah, Rodgers, Sarr, Cunha, João Pedro, Isak. Yes, I would definitely roll. Your team is good for this week. I would definitely roll. Lewis or Hall, I would probably chance it. If you're still owning Manchester City defenders... Like, I know I said it last week against Everton that I probably would chance it, but I probably would do the same unless you want to sell them. Like, if you told me you were doing Lewis to Munoz this week, I would probably say yes. Like, I'm pretty sure Munoz is top 4 defenders for XG so far this season. I can check that. Stats. Do they have XG in here? Yeah. Yeah, Munoz top for XG amongst all defenders so far this season. So I wouldn't be against you doing a Lewis to a Munoz or something like that. But if you are keeping Lewis, I would say you probably need to start him. Why didn't I bring Gordon and Iwobi in your team, Harry? I mean, I've only got one transfer and I need to roll some transfers because every week I'm just making one move and it's not really helping me very much. So I think I'm just going to roll this week and... hope for the best over the next couple of weeks and probably roll. I think I'm going to roll next week as well. I can get plan FPL up and we'll have a look at it. One sec. Plan FPL. Start João Pedro or Robinson. To be honest, would I play a back 4 and play Robinson? Probably. Yeah, I think I'd play Robinson over João Pedro. That's what's in my benching ranking as well. Right, let me... Where's my mouse gone? There. Cool. So, I mean, this is my team this week, and the current plan is to just roll my transfer. Because I just want to start building them up. And then next week, I'll probably do the same. Like, I'll probably bench Ahmad and not play double mids against Liverpool. But it does mean I've got João Pedro at home to Arsenal. Like, it just doesn't look that great next week either. Like, I'm playing double... What's that? João Pedro against double Arsenal defense. I'm playing Munoz against triple Chelsea attack. Like, it just doesn't look great. So I need 2 transfers next week, I think, to try and sort it, to maybe do something. Or I just accept it next week and roll again. And going into game week 21, everything starts to look better. Like, it's just game week 20. There are loads of difficult fixtures. Like, I'll have, you know, double Manchester United home Southampton. I'll have Trent, Gabriel, Munoz, Raya. Like, things start to look really good again. It's just game week 20 is a real, like, pinch point for my team where I've got loads of my attackers playing against my defenders. And loads of players in the same game, which I don't love. That's because there's a couple of games I have no investment in. Like Villa at home to Leicester, I have nothing. And Fulham at home to Ipswich. So I have no Fulham and I have no Villa, which means I'm relying on a reasonable slice of luck next week for my team to do anything. But, yeah. Doesn't feel great at the moment. Trent in for Gusto for a hit. If you know you want Trent for the long term, fine. But he's got, what's that, Man United at home next week, which isn't even that bad. So, yes. Yeah. Anyway, that's where we're at with my team. Mateta or Raul. Also, triple captain Salah. No to the triple captain, and I'd buy Mateta or or Raul. I buy Mateta over Raul, definitely. You have one free transfer. Who would I sell Raul for, Mateta or Solanke? I'd probably buy Mateta just because I'm not that fussed on Spurs looking at the moment. You have one transfer. You have Palmer, Enzo, Bruno Fernandes, Salah, Rodgers. Do I swap Bruno or do I change my defence? I have Aït-Nouri, Gabriel and Trent. I probably would be doing Aït-Nouri to Munoz or Aït-Nouri to Castagna this week. Muniz could well start. That's the issue with buying Jimenez at the moment. Because they've been going one the other, and Jimenez started the game against Chelsea just a few days ago. So predictions would be that it is Muniz that starts and Raul Jimenez doesn't. Start Aina or Colwell this week. Back for remove João Pedro. I'd play João Pedro over Colwell and Aina probably. And Aina or Colwell. Aina or Colwell. I don't think I have Colwell in my ranking at the moment. I don't have Aina in either. Aina at home. No, I'd play Aina and hope that game ends 0-0. Kane, thank you very much for gifting a membership. Standard name 69, you have won a membership to the channel. Thank you. Please say thank you to Kane in the chat for your membership, Kane. I appreciate it. Is Bruno to Sarr and Pedro to Isak good? Yes. If Bruno out is the way to free up money for Isak, I would get it done. I would definitely do that. Start Enzo or Murphy. Probably Murphy. Rodgers or Iwobi. Iwobi this week. Probably. If you're buying new, Rodgers or Iwobi. Yeah, I still think I would probably go. If I was starting one this week, I'd start Iwobi. If I was buying new, I'd probably buy Rodgers over Iwobi this week. Why Munoz is price locked? It's because he went from a red flag to no flag. I don't really understand it because it wasn't an injury; it was a suspension. But yeah. Benteca's, I answered the super chat. Would I sell Raul for Mateta or Solanke? I'd go Mateta out of the two. Am I planning on keeping Bruno long term? At the moment, yes. Like, I still don't love any of the replacements. The data is still decent. He just needs to go and not get himself sent off. Buy Munoz or Castagna long term. I mean, Munoz is top in the league for defenders for XG. So, I like Munoz has got to be the one to buy, I think. He's top for XG. If you look at defenders, if you look at even XGI, I mean, he's a bit lower down because of his assist potential, but his XG is top out of all defenders. I mean, it's not that high. Like, he's amassed 3 XG over the course of like almost 20 games. So, but like, if you look at some of the, like at the weekend or in the fixtures just gone, he had a like 0.12 XG shot, like 0.19. He didn't play against Arsenal, like 0.28, 0.15. Okay, he scored a massive chance there. But like, he does have some games where he puts up some really, really big XG chances. And if you watch Palace, it's very exciting to have him in. So I'm happy with Munoz. And apart from game week 20, where my team actually stinks, the fixtures are really, really good for him. There's basically only one week, which is game week 24, where I'll probably bench him. Game week 24 and game week 29 are the only weeks that I'll bench him. And my man Mikalenko in game week 24, Leicester at home, in game week 29, West Ham at home, is a perfect cover replacement in a bit of a rotation between the two. So I'm happy with Munoz. The fixtures are really good as well going forward. Some of them are away from home, but they have just kept a clean sheet away at Bournemouth. What's better for buying new for all? Aina, Iwobi, Sarr and Isak, or Gabriel, Sarr, Jackson, Rodgers? The one involving Alexander Isak. Start Aït-Nouri or Mikalenko. If you're buying a forward this week, Isak should just remain the priority. He is on such good form at the moment. He is what we thought he could be in game week 1 when we all bought him and captained him in game week 1. He is now that, basically. And there's no difference between that. Start Aït-Nouri or Mikalenko. I'd start Mikalenko. Flecken injury update. We don't have an injury update on Flecken. I would be surprised if he starts this soon after being subbed off. But yeah, we'll have to see. But I would be surprised if Flecken starts. If I could go to Jesus today straight from João Pedro, would I do it? I can do it, and I don't plan on doing it. I don't plan on doing it. I'm going to play the next... My current plan, and I know it might not seem perfect, is to play the next 2 game weeks. Hope I stay inside the top 100k with them. And then from game week 21, my team looks really good again. I just have a real sticking point this week because Bruno got sent off. And then I have a sticking point next week because I have loads of players playing against each other. But I've just got to hope that it goes okay. That's the current plan. Start Enzo or Semenyo with Castagna in defence. Enzo or Semenyo. I mean, if you're playing Castagna, maybe you play Enzo. I probably would play Semenyo over Enzo, though. I would play Semenyo over Enzo, but I do understand that Castagna might impact that. Sell Colwill for Munoz. I mean, if you've got nothing else to do, it probably is an upgrade with the Palace fixtures coming up. Hall to Munoz this week. I mean, the Newcastle fixtures are okay. They're not great from a defensive point of view, is the only thing. Like, some of these are okay. Like, you could just keep Hall. I'd probably be looking to upgrade another defender that maybe rotates with Lewis Hall. Because, yeah. So do someone else to Munoz if you can. But I prefer Munoz to Lewis Hall at the moment. Bench 1 defender and 1 mid. Iwobi, Rodgers, Colwill, Robinson. I'd play Iwobi over Rodgers and I'd play Robinson over Colwill. So I'd probably play double Fulham out of that. If you don't want to play double Fulham, I also get that. The change I would make if you don't want double Fulham is I'd play Rodgers over Iwobi. Robinson is a definite start over Colwill if you own both of them. Robinson or Gomez. There's lots of you with Robinson related... lots of you with Robinson related benching decisions. Basically, there's actually no one I'd start over Robinson that isn't Arsenal, Liverpool or Munoz. Basically, everyone else I would play... Robinson over. Start Olorayina versus Colwill and Ahmad versus Rodgers. Aina versus Colwill, I'd play Olorayina, and Ahmad versus Rodgers. I'd probably play Rodgers over Ahmad. By Alisson, Henderson or Sells or others, or other suggestions. By Henderson, Sells or Alisson. Henderson is top of my goalkeepers to buy list this week. If you're looking for players to buy and you're looking for benching rankings and stuff like that, in the top right hand corner, like at the moment, you have top goalkeepers to buy, which is Henderson is the number 1 goalkeeper I'd be buying this week. Then you have top defenders. You've got Daniel Munoz above Castagna. You've also got Mikalenko in there. Then you'll move on to midfielders. Then you'll move on to forwards. And then you'll have benching rankings as well. So if you're looking at all of that, like benching ranking, captaincy, all of that, there is stuff in the top right hand corner. If it doesn't answer your questions, then of course fire it away in the chat. But hopefully it does a lot of the sort of more straightforward questions. We also have been live for 40 minutes. 4,000 of you in. Thank you very much for joining. But only 400 likes, which means almost 4,000 of you haven't liked the stream. If you could drop a like on the stream, if we can try and get it up to 750 likes, that would be great. It's completely free way to support the channel. That would be great. Thoughts on selling Bowen to Gordon on a free? If you don't have Isak, yeah, I quite like that. Would have to do a -4 to get him in, or just roll the transfer and get Isak in game of 20. I mean, if you can -4 Isak in for Bowen, I probably would do that. Because if you do Bowen to Sarr of Crystal Palace, and he's got Southampton at home, and you do João Pedro to Isak, like I would do Bowen to Sarr, João Pedro to Isak for a hit. So you got Gordon, Gakpo for João Pedro, and Foden for Saka. Thoughts? I mean, I'm not guaranteeing that Gakpo starts all the games, but when he does start, he's a really good pick. So, and Foden, I'm not certain on the money spent on Foden is the only thing. I'm not certain on it, but if you've got nothing else to spend it on it, then it's an interesting punt. Like, he's got a great fixture this week, but it's probably not. He's not in my midfielders to buy at the moment. BD, thank you for joining as a base tier member. Welcome to the channel. You can start using all your emojis and stuff in the chat. Would I start Rodgers or Castagna? Rodgers or Castagna? It's close. Rodgers or Castagna? Probably Castagna, but I do think that's pretty close. One sec. Saka and Enzo to Sarr and Gordon. Rodgers, Saka and Enzo to Sarr and Gordon. Saka and Enzo to Sarr and Gordon. I mean, yes. Like, is the Enzo transfer necessary? Is the reason I hesitate. But I would do Saka to either Sarr or Gordon. Yeah, Saka's out for a while, so yes. Sell Cole to Munoz, we did. Hope you had a great Christmas. Thank you very much, Jack. Timber or Colwell? Timber, definitely. Timber, definitely. Start Rodgers or Enzo. Rodgers over the 2. Who to bench? João Pedro, Semenyo or Mykolenko? If I had to bench one, I'd bench Mykolenko out of them. I'd bench the defender. Sell Jota for Foden or Jackson for Watkins. I'm not sure I'd do either of those transfers. I'm not sure I'd be selling Jota because I think he might finally start. So I wouldn't be selling Jota to Foden. No way, we don't know if Foden's going to start. Would I do Jackson to Watkins? Probably wouldn't do that either. So no. Thinking of doing Bruno to Gordon and Mazraoui to Munoz for a -4. Which would I bench out of Ahmad, Rodgers and João Pedro? Again, like all the benching decision questions are in the benching ranking. Yeah, they're all in that benching ranking. So Ahmad, Rodgers, João Pedro, I'd bench Ahmad. Get the worst benching decision. How can I show you? Just type it in the chat and I will take a look. Bench Howson, Enzo, Rodgers or Hall. Probably Howson. Howson or Hall. One of the defenders. Bench Raya or Sells this week. Probably just always play Raya. If you've got Raya, I wouldn't really be benching him. Start Ahmad or Mykolenko or Castagna or Lewis with back 4 defence. If you can only play one of them, I mean, I probably would play the... I'd probably play Castagna and hope he plays wing back. Henderson for a -4. I mean, if it's for a Flecken or a Fabianski and you don't have a goalkeeper and you're looking at a situation where you have 2 goalkeepers who aren't going to play, then yes, like a goalkeeper transfer, even for a hit, is probably worthwhile. Partly because Henderson is a better long-term hold than those other ones are now anyway. So I don't hate it. It probably isn't like necessarily going to pay off this week, but it's better than having no goalkeeper in there. So if you've got Flecken and Fabianski and you've already used your transfers, would I sell it for a -4? Probably. Why not Cunha in best rankings of forwards to buy? Because he is expected to get banned at some point. It's probably, if he's going to get it, it's probably going to happen in January. So if you want to buy Cunha because he's looked really good, then it's not the end of the world. But like the ban is still likely to happen at some point. So that's why I wouldn't recommend anyone buying Cunha. If you've got him, you hold him until the ban comes. But he is likely to get suspended at some point. So that's why I can't recommend it. Like if I recommend him and he gets banned for the next game, like it could happen. It's unlikely to happen. It's probably most likely going to happen going into game week 21. But yeah. Why many people put Sarr in only fixtures? No, he looks really good when you watch Palace as well. And he plays some of the minutes up front as well. Yeah, Cunha will start, but he'll get banned at some point, it seems. He's been charged, so just these things can take a while. Trent, Gabriel, Timber, João Pedro, Rodgers, Castagna, bench 1. Probably João Pedro. João Pedro versus Rodgers is probably the decision I'd make there. And have one of them. Why is Bruno first on the bench? It doesn't actually matter what order I put my bench in because they just won't sub in. Fernandes. Am I home yet? No, I'm home. What day is it today? It is Sunday. I'm home on Friday evening. So I've got a few more days before I go home. New Year and then back home. Jesus or Rodgers? Jesus if you're buying him. Dilemma, bench 2 from Timber, Gabriel, Robinson, Enzo, and Burmo, Mikalenko. I think that's all answered in the benching ranking. Yeah, they are all in there. And would I sell any for Munoz? No, I wouldn't. I'd probably bench Enzo or Mbumo and Mikalenko. Or Lewis, or get Munoz for Lewis. Lewis to Munoz I've spoken about is a transfer I quite like. Start João Pedro or Rogers. I play Rogers over João Pedro. What's my views on selling Raya to get Henderson in sales rotation till the end of the season? I wouldn't be selling Raya or Allison now. Because that's also 2 transfers to do one of them down and someone else up. That's, yeah. I wouldn't sell Raya. If I was buying you now, I probably would. If you're needing a wildcard draft, I can't really get it up on stream. I did a wildcard draft in my video yesterday, my team selection. It basically is not a team selection video. I'm going to cover everything in one video. So if you haven't watched that and you need a wildcard draft, there is a wildcard draft in that video for you to go and check out. Selling Saka for Gordon or Martinelli. I probably would go Martinelli over Gordon. I quite like Martinelli. He didn't have that much of the ball the other night, but he was playing pretty central, and there is fair few injuries to that Brentford defence and potentially goalkeeper at the moment. Best Bruno replacements. I mean, I plan on keeping him. If not, Sar's probably number 1. Gordon, Martinelli, Iwobi, Rogers, or a lot of these mids, Odegaard. Bench Iwobi or Rogers and Aina or Robinson. Again, a lot of these benching rankings. Let me put the benching ranking up right now for you. If you've got a benching ranking, I'll put it up in the top right. I'll make it so that it's up longer. And it has all of the benching rankings. And they're all numbered. So you can go down and have a look at who I think you should start. Because there's a lot of you with benching dilemmas this weekend. No one's really asking about Van Heck in the chat. So I'm going to take him out. And I'm going to add Colwell in. But I think I'd play Hall over Colwell. So he's pretty low to the bottom of the list. Yeah. I mean, that's the benching ranking for you. Like, if you're looking for that, it's up in the top right-hand corner and it will come round again in 30 seconds or so. Cool. Start with Wood or Ahmad. Cool. I'm going to try and get through a few of the questions which are more like transfer based. If you are looking at benching rankings, they are in the top right for you. Stefan, let me take a look. You're looking at getting Henderson or Munoz. Munoz causes a benching headache. Have to bench one of Castagna, Rogers, or Jackson. Thoughts? Then if it causes a benching headache, then just get Henderson. Like, don't make transfers. Don't make transfers just for the sake of giving yourself a benching headache. Where would I put Olaraina on the list? Probably around Lewis Hall's level, Kirkez's level. No one's really asking about the United defence either. There you go. I've added Olaraina to that ranking as well. So I'm going to leave the benching ranking questions for a moment and then we can come back to it in a moment. But the ranking will be in the top right in a moment. I've added Olaraina to that ranking as well. Enzo or Ahmad? Enzo or Ahmad? Again, it's in that ranking. Enzo versus Ahmad. Where are they? Sorry. Are they in it? Yes, Ahmad is above Enzo. Sorry. Dog is charging around. Ahmad to Sar and bench Bruno. I don't hate that move. Like, if you've got luxury transfers, if it's probably one of those where if you've only got one, I probably wouldn't do Amad to Sarr. But if you've got more than one transfer, if you've got 3 or 4, then maybe I'd consider it. So it kind of depends on where you're at with your free transfers. Enzo to Gordon, leaving 0.0 in the bank, 1 free transfer or roll. I'd probably roll that this week, given the fixtures that they both have. Can I add De Bruyne and Maddison to the benching ranking as well? I don't have space, and they're not really very highly owned players. If you've got De Bruyne and Maddison, I'm almost certain that I'd be starting both of them this week. Is Cunha banned? Answer please. Cunha is not banned yet. We're expecting the ban to come, but it may well come going into game week 21, which is in January, if not later. So yeah, he's fine to play this week, and he'll almost certainly be fine to play the next game week as well. Like, it doesn't look like they've got their act together in terms of getting a review or anything like that done. So yes. Add Mikalenko and Castagna to the ranking. Castagna is on the ranking. Fulham defense is on there. Mikalenko, Mikalenko is probably a bench. If you've got a benching decision, I'd probably bench Mikalenko against Forest. Would Dalot or Greaves to Munoz? I mean, if you need the money, sell Dalot, but they do have some good fixtures coming up, so it depends what the rest of your defense is like. If you think you'll never need Dalot, if you sell him, then if you keep him, then probably just sell him to Munoz and take the money. I would be ideally upgrading Greaves. Now, Greaves did get on the pitch for Ipswich against Arsenal. I don't necessarily think it's going to stick, but he didn't have the worst game, so maybe it will stick. Would I buy Munoz if you already have Gomez? Would I do Gomez to Munoz? Probably. Again, it's one of those that if you've got 3 or 4 transfers, I probably would do it. If you've only got 1, I probably wouldn't rush to do the transfer. There are a few transfers this week, like selling Bruno. If I had 3, 4, 5 transfers, I would sell Bruno. But if I've only got 1, I don't think it's quite as beneficial. And João Pedro falls into a similar category. Like, if I had 3, 4 transfers, I probably would sell João Pedro, but if I've only got 1 transfer, I'm probably going to keep João Pedro, and I'm probably going to keep Bruno as well. What time is it? Just over an hour to go to the stream, and we are closing in 1,000 likes. If you could drop a like on the stream, that would be fantastic. Start with Amad or Mbeumo. Again, anyone looking at benching rankings, it will be up in the top right-hand corner in about 30, 40 seconds, and they'll have all of those benching rankings pretty much for you answered. If it's still not answered, Mikalenko's probably... I put him in at the same place with Aina. I can't add more lines to my ranking, but he probably ranks the same with Aina. And the minute you're playing 4-4-2, that is your team. Bench is Amad, João Pedro, Colwell. I don't mind that. You might want to consider a bench boost though, but there's probably a better opportunity. Start 2, Rodgers, João Pedro, Amad. Again, it is in the ranking. I would bench Amad, 1 free transfer, Bowen to Sol, Eze. So I've had quite a few questions actually, and I had it on the chat on the video yesterday between which Crystal Palace attacker I like the most. Would I go with Mateta? Would I go with Sarr, or would I go with Eze? I think Sarr is the best of the attack. The only issue is it takes up a midfield spot. I don't think there's any world I buy Eze, particularly because we don't think... I don't think Eze is on penalties anymore. Like, we saw that earlier on in the season that he's not on penalties. So I don't think there's that much really to recommend buying Eze over Sarr. Like, I think the open play threat for Eze is lower than that of Sarr. So I would buy Sarr over Eze. have I got such high team value? I mean, it doesn't actually benefit me now because Saka's gone and got injured, which is a little bit of a pain. Like, I built this team that I thought would be really good for the long term, and then Saka went and got injured and just basically ruined the build-up of team value because I don't need the high team value at the moment, and I probably won't need it for a fair few weeks, but we'll wait and see. You have a defence of Robbo, Gabriel, Castagne, Davis, and Van der Berg. Only one free transfer and in the top 2.5k. Should I roll or swap Robbo Davies for Munoz? No, I wouldn't be doing Robinson to Munoz this week. Robinson is still a keep for the long term. Robinson is an absolute keep still. Start Rodgers or Enzo. Again, I'd play Rodgers over Enzo. Let me put the benching rank. Oh, it's up on screen now for you. If you do have benching dilemmas, check out the bit in the top right-hand corner for you now. Oh, my green screen is... Not that it's doing a very good job this morning. What do I think of FPL Raptor and captaining Palmer? Is he? Interesting. Interesting. Surprised Sarr isn't on the list either because Sarr is not a benching dilemma. If you own Sarr, he's an obvious start. He's an obvious start over most players this week. It's like not putting Isak in a benching ranking. Would I play Visa or Hall? I'd probably play the attacker. I'd probably play Visa. Start Strand Larson or Pedro. Probably Pedro. Why Fulham defenders over Enzo? Because when I say Fulham defence, I mean Castagne and Robinson. And I think they might stick... Well, they're very, very attacking. And there's clean sheet odds. And Enzo's not been quite as attacking recently. So without Lavia in the Chelsea lineup, I probably would play them over him. Like, the data is lower recently since we all bought him here. The data has dropped off. Raul starts versus Ipswich. When do Fulham play Ipswich? I think you've got it confused. Either you're meaning Jackson. Jackson, I think will start. Raul Jimenez, I don't think will start. But I'm not certain enough on Jackson. Like, I don't think I'd be recommending buying Jackson this week because there is an uncertainty that he starts. Why captain Salah, not Palmer? Because I think Salah has failed to blank in... He hasn't blanked since game week 3 away at Crystal Palace. Sorry, game week 7. He's returning every game week since. Salah is just unstoppable at the moment. So, and also I have triple Chelsea attack. So if I have triple Chelsea attack and captain Palmer, like, my whole game week revolves around one game, which I don't think is a particularly sensible place for me to put my team in. Oh, I have Vice on Enzo. Thank you. Who said that? Stefan, thank you very much for noticing. I just saw it on a Chelsea player and presumed it was Palmer. I don't know how it moved. It was on Palmer last week. Mikalenko or 8 Nori. Mikalenko. Everton at home. I mean, Everton defensively, we've seen it, are very good, right? Currently starting Munoz, Gabriel Robinson and benching Hall and Kirkes. Any changes? No, I'd leave it as that. Has Trent been disappointing? I mean, a little bit. Like, the returns have not been there. Like, he had an assist and then a clean sheet wipeout, but he still put up really big data in both of these games. So it's really not the end of the world. And some of the games coming up. And the other thing with Trent at the moment is we're not spending a lot of money on a lot of things, really. Like, with there not being any Saka, with us not wanting Haaland, there's not a load of stuff to spend the money on. So the fact that we're paying 7 million for Trent is not as concerning because it's not like I'd be really investing that money on anything else, to be honest. So I don't really mind the Trent pick. If, like, Haaland suddenly started scoring, Trent out may well be the easiest way for me to get the money for it. And I wouldn't mind it. And if Saka was fit, maybe I wouldn't always need Trent. But whilst those two are out, there's not so much that we need to be spending the money on. Hold or sell Jota, sell Hall to Munoz. Hall to Munoz, I don't hate. They are without Mark Gay today, so are they going to be quite as good going defensively? Maybe not. Would I do Hall to Munoz? Probably. But if you have 3 or 4 transfers, yes. If you've only got 1 transfer, then I don't think Hall to Munoz is a useful use of 1 transfer. You're benching Trent, fair enough. If I had 3 or 4 transfers, who would I move? Would I move Bruin if I only had 2 transfers? Probably not. I'd probably think I'd want 3 or 4. If you have Fabianski and Flecken, which goalkeeper would I be moving them to? If I had Fabianski and Flecken, I'd probably go Henderson, I think. Henderson or Pickford. The issue with Pickford... fix your green screen. I know, sorry. I am not... There we go. I mean, there's not that much more. I can probably tilt the camera down a little bit, but... I can probably tip it down a bit more. There we go. If these is Henderson or Pickford for me. The reason Pickford's quite nice is because there might be a double at some point. We are still expecting a game week 25 double is probably the most likely now. But over the next few games, I would say Henderson's fixtures are probably better. But then it depends. Like if you've got a Mikalenko, you're probably going to buy Henderson. If you've got a Munoz, you'll probably buy Pickford. So it kind of depends on what else you've got. If you've got no Palace and no Everton at all, I think I would go Henderson first because I still look at these fixtures and think they are better than what you get with Everton. And the double for Everton is that Liverpool game, which is probably not enough to... it's probably not enough to do one versus the other. So if I had to buy one, I'd probably buy Henderson. Took a punt on Jota last week. Absolute disaster. Thoughts on moving him to Sarr this week with 1-3. I probably would. I think there's a decent chance that Jota might start, but I'm definitely not certain enough. So I probably would do Jota to Sarr. Because I still think long term, he's definitely not nailed as well. Is Gakpo a shout? Yes. Again, with games in such quick succession for Liverpool, I expect Luis Diaz to definitely start. Which means then one of Gakpo, Darwin, Jota starts. So... yeah, it's really, really close. And I probably wouldn't be buying Gakpo based on those odds this week. I probably wouldn't buy any Liverpool attacker, but maybe I'm a little bit boring like that. But I wouldn't buy any Liverpool attacker that isn't Salah just because I don't know who's going to play. I don't know who's going to play every week. Robinson or Mikalenko? Robinson, definitely. Sells or Henderson as a goalkeeper this game week. If you own both, I would still play Henderson as the answer to that, both of them probably. Took a punt on Calafiori last week, but seems like he's out of favour. Would I start him or Robinson? I'd play Robinson over Calafiori, yeah. Pedro to Watkins, but keep Cunha for a couple of weeks. I would sell Pedro before I'd sell Cunha probably, because, I mean, Cunha's going up against that Spurs defence who have about one fit defender at the moment. So, yes, I would be doing Cunha. I would keep Cunha first. Diaz will 100% start at least the next 2. Probably, because there's a bit of a gap between them. Probably now start at least the next 2. Have Flecken and Fabianski? Yes. I'd probably do Flecken or Fabianski to Henderson. If you can do Fabianski to Henderson, I don't mind that. And keep Flecken, but I would probably go and buy Henderson this week. Should I go for Isak this week? You have Pedro, Cunha, Jackson. I mean, if you can do Pedro to Isak for free, I would do that. Is Robertson going to start for Liverpool? We don't know. It could well be Tsimikas. I don't think Robertson's been very good for them recently, and I think Liverpool fans will probably agree on that. So I think Robertson will probably drop out when we get to the point where they think that Tsimikas is ready enough to play. But he's come back from injury. Start 1, bench 2, Rodgers, João Pedro, Enzo, and why? I'd probably play Rodgers. I'd definitely bench Enzo. He's not been as attacking recently. So yeah. Munoz in for Anderson for a -4. Feel like it set me up much better for the future. If you think it sets you up better for the future, I don't mind it, particularly because Anderson is a centre back. Should I go for Isak this week? Yes, I would. Would I bench Saliba for Robinson? Have double Arsenal defence with Gabriel? Generally, I would start Arsenal defence over Robinson, but the attacking threat for Robinson is so much better. So That's why I'm uncertain. I probably would play Robinson over Saliba and just take the attacking threat. What to do about Bruno? Thinking about a Gordon move. I'm probably just going to keep Bruno. Yeah, I'm probably going to keep Bruno. Mohammed, I apologise. Let me scroll back and get it. Sell Robinson, Semenyo for Foden, Castagna -4. No. I don't like the Foden pick at all. I don't like the Foden pick at all. No. Right. I was about to do something then, but I can't remember what it was. Ooh, I forgot I built a button that does that. I've bought... Very exciting. Ooh, there we go. Why so low on Forest defenders this week? I don't hate it. I just think there's a lot of others with very good attacking threat and a decent fixture. Like, I would just start Robinson over on Oloaina this week. I just think Robinson's attacking threat looks really good. Particularly if they stick with a back five, which is possible. Why is Munel's price locked? Because he moved from a red flag to a fully available flag, which I think for some reason locked his price. I don't really understand why, because it's a suspension, it's not an injury, but that's why. Harry, money is no issue. Play or transfer Mbeumo out for someone. I'd probably keep him. He's got a good fixture next week, so don't they have Southampton in game week 20? Yeah. I'd keep Mbeumo. Joe Gomez bench ranking. He's probably quite low down because of the he's probably down there with like Hall and Colwill. Jesus to Watkins. Jesus to Watkins. Definitely not. Definitely not. Top 5 goalkeepers, they will be up in the top right for... They are up... Oh, they were up a minute ago. They'll be up in a moment. Van Heck to Munoz for a -4. Already owns Sarr. I mean, I don't love... The Brighton defence has fallen off a little bit. I probably would do Van Heck to Munoz. Is it worth a hit, though? I mean, he's probably more useful going forward, so probably... Probably I would do that. Start Hall or Castagna and start Mbeumo or Pedro. Hall or Castagna. Castagna over Hall and Mbeumo or Pedro. Pedro out of the two. Again, it's a lot of this is like benching rankings with those cheap midfielders and stuff like that. So the benching ranking is up on screen now. Have a look in the top right hand corner if you are asking benching related questions. Bench 1, Rodgers, Jesus and Martinelli. Rodgers, I'd still start the double Arsenal attack going against a Brentford defence who are without Ben Mee, insert joke, without Pinnock, without Vandenberg, without Flecken potentially. So they've got a lot of first choice options out. Bench 2, Robinson's Enzo, Pedro Porro and João Pedro. I expect Pedro Porro comes back in, but I don't think it's guaranteed. Oh, he must come back in, actually. Jed Spence got sent off. So, Robinson. I'd play Robinson. Definitely. I'd probably play Robinson and João Pedro if it was me. Maybe I'd play Porro, but I still think Wolves will score. Can you put Evan Nilsson in the ranking? Yes, pretty low down. Probably below most of the attackers. He's probably around Ahmad Enzo position in the ranking. Why is Semenyo and 8 Nori on my benching ranking? Semenyo is alright. Semenyo is probably just below João Pedro. And 8 Nori is probably quite low down with Hall and Colwill. Why Iwobi over Rodgers in to play this week? I just think Iwobi's been pretty good. Rodgers has probably a slightly more difficult fixture. Yeah, I don't think there's miles different. And if you want to play Rodgers higher against some of these, then I don't have a problem with it. Like, it's not something that is that like one way or the other, but yeah, Rico Lewis is on my benching ranking. Manchester City defense is in there. If I had to buy a Forest defender, I would buy Oloaina over Milenkovic. It's pretty close. Milenkovic has probably better goal threat from set pieces, but I think I'd buy Oloaina, partly because his bonus points have been pretty good this season as well. Transfer plan is probably to roll my transfer this week and hope that I get lucky. Bench Wood, Semenyo, or João Pedro. Probably Semenyo. Why? What is the reason you don't do any transfers this week? What's the plan? So every week I'm making one transfer, and at the moment I'm making transfers for players that I don't particularly like. So I should have rolled my transfer last week, and I should have rolled my transfer last week, and I didn't love the replacements, and I still don't think the replacements for that position are that good either this week. Like I could well go to Sarr, but then Sarr's got Chelsea next week. So I just think hoping that things for somehow go well for me this week and rolling my transfer is the best plan, is the best option out of the two. Start Gordon or Rodgers? Gordon. Gordon's a nice pick. I think Gordon's probably up there for one that I would actually consider selling Bruno for. But it's not like I've got bad cover. It's João Pedro, Enzo, or Ahmad. I'd have to bench one of them, which is a headache in itself, right? Trying to pick one of those three to bench. So, yeah, it's a headache in itself. But right now, I think I'm just going to roll and keep Bruno. Just roll and keep Bruno. We've got 45 minutes to go until the deadline. Still a bit of time. People asking in the chat about early team news. We rarely get City team news anymore. So I'd be surprised if we get anything from Manchester City in the build up to the deadline. But we might do. I would be surprised that we don't really get that much anymore. It's a bit, I mean, early team news has a massive impact on FPL, and I do think we're better off for not having it. I don't think this season's been worse for not having any early team news at the moment. I don't think it's been worse for not having it, but there are occasions where you wish you did get it, right? Bench João Pedro and play both Mikalenko and Robinson, or bench one. I mean, I'm playing João Pedro over Mikalenko, so that answers that question. Have I ever thought about putting bench rankings in the top right-hand corner? Funny. Will Jimenez start? I predict Muniz will start because Jimenez played the last game. Muniz scored off the bench. So do I think Flecken starts? No, probably not. I would probably say Valdemarson will start. But again, do I think Palmer will get rested today? No, absolutely not. Chelsea have 1 win in 3, 1 point in their last 2. I personally don't think so. Why isn't... Bruno will be in my starting 11 for the auto sub, but I haven't done it yet just because I don't want to get asked the question during the stream. I'll do it closer to the deadline. Bench Ahmad or Enzo. I'd play Ahmad over Enzo. With Lavia's imminent return, is Enzo a rotation risk? No, if anything, it's likely to be good for Enzo because it'll probably push him further up the pitch. Is it crazy to do Bruno to Sarr for a -4? I think it's crazy. I'm not sure I'd do it for I'm not doing it for free, let alone for a hit, Lalari. So probably not. Any chances of Sanchez getting benched? Again, it's possible. He didn't fill himself with glory in the Fulham game again. If as a Chelsea fan, I pick the Chelsea team, would I pick... what is his name? Jorgensen, or would I pick Sanchez? I'd pick Jorgensen, but I'm not the manager, and the manager likes Sanchez, so I don't think it will happen. If I had to bench 2, Enzo, Rodgers, Cassano, and Hall, who would I bench? I'd probably bench Enzo and Hall. Am I making a transfer or rolling? I'm pretty sure I'm rolling. Why isn't Jacob Murphy on anyone's radar? I think it's probably a fair question. Newcastle are a very good side when Jacob Murphy's playing well, it seems to at the moment. I did want Jacob Murphy in my Game Week 1 team, and I should have gone for him. I should have gone for him recently. That's 3 returns on the bounce. The next couple are not as good, but the minutes also a little bit lower than some of the others, but his underlying data is very good, and he seems like a player full of confidence. So I don't mind it. It's just every week there's been someone else to buy instead of buying Jacob Murphy. Like this week, if you're buying a midfielder at that price, you're buying Sarr. Like he's got Southampton at home this week. He's looked really good. So I don't mind the Murphy pick at all, but it's just been that every week there's probably been someone that we've had higher up our rankings. The only issue with Murphy is his lower minutes. Yeah, but he seems to be doing more damage in lower minutes than most of my midfielders at the moment. But I'm not ruling out changing my cheap midfielders again at some point. Play Ahmad or Robinson. Bench 1. Love the content. I'd play Robinson probably over Ahmad. Oh. This little wooden chair is making my legs go to sleep. Sorry, I keep moving around and having half my head chopped off by the camera. That is why. Why is Son not being talked about more? I mean, if you watch Spurs, Son looks way off it. Yeah, he looks so disengaged. Just doesn't look like himself. Yeah, I'm not sure he keeps his place forever, to be honest. I am absolutely certain I'm not spending whatever it is, 9 million on Son now. He's not even the best Spurs mid. He's not the best premium mid. I don't feel like there's a world where we should really be having a look at Son with reasonable appeal to him anymore. I mean, if things change, then maybe things change. But right now, yeah, Son doesn't have the appeal that he used to. Just seen the ref that was fault for the infamous Luis Diaz is on VAR versus West Ham. 1 free transfer. Would I sell Hall for Munoz? No other fires. Probably not. I mean, if you're starting Hall this week, then maybe it pays off straight away. But it feels if you only got 1 transfer, it feels quite a luxury move. Play Timothy Castagna or Timber. I mean, Timber is higher up my ranking. I probably would play Timber. He's looked really good. I probably would play Timber over Castagna, personally. Alex. Let me have a look. Bench boost. Enzo, Mikalenko, João Pedro, and any goalkeeper using 1 transfer. If the goalkeeper benefits you long term, like buying Henderson, for example, I may well consider playing the bench boost. The reason partly for that is I don't think there's going to be a fantastic opportunity to play your bench boost later on in the season. There aren't real good double game weeks which are going to be great for bench boost. So if you go like Henderson in and it's a benefit to your team long term as well, or like Pickford in and you keep him for his double, then yeah, I probably would consider playing that bench boost. Bench Rodgers or João Pedro. I play Rodgers over João Pedro. Bruno to Foden and bench Enzo. I just don't like the Foden pick right now. He doesn't look quite at it. City are not clicking as a team, even when Foden does look okay. He's also not guaranteed to play. He might play on the wing. He might play central. It might be De Bruyne. I'm not spending this money on City players at the moment. Gakpo or João Pedro. I'd take the chance that Gakpo starts. I'm not certain he will, because I'm certain Luis Diaz will start, which means it's either Luis Diaz in the middle, Gakpo left, which it could be. It could be Luis Diaz left and then Jota or Darwin central. So I'm not guaranteeing that Gakpo starts, which is why I'm uncertain on him. But he has looked really good. So I wouldn't be buying Gakpo new, I don't think now. Yeah. I mean, any Liverpool fans, FPL Lucho, if you're in the chat, let me know what you think your front 3 will be this evening. Start 2, Sarr, Rodgers, João Pedro. Sarr definitely starts. So Rodgers over João Pedro again. Bench João Pedro or Lewis. João Pedro or Lewis? I'd play João Pedro over Lewis probably. Any leaks? Sorry, I was trying to remember. Something. Start Rodgers or João Pedro? Yeah, Rodgers over João Pedro. What are the pros of Pedro versus Enzo? João Pedro plays up front and he's on penalties basically. That's the benefit to having João Pedro. He's playing up front, he's playing 90 minutes and he's on penalties for them. So Gakpo, Diaz and Salah. Jota not 100%. Well, that has Gakpo in it. So, I mean, I still wouldn't buy Gakpo, but if you've got him, maybe you do start him and hope that that is the front three. Start Castagna or Mikalenko. Castagna. João Pedro is above Lewis in my ranking. Yeah, I'd play João Pedro over Lewis. Why is Colwell worse to start? Ipswich have been pretty good at home. I just like the others more over him, and he doesn't really have attacking threat. Like, I know he got the assist because he passed it to Palmer, who dribbled through half of Fulham and scored, but generally, I don't think the attacking threat is as good for Colwell. So he is an easier one to drop because the ceiling's really only 6 points for him most weeks. If we get Foden news that he starts, do I rate him? I still probably not. I'm not sure it's worth the money. Like, he might be good for 1 week punt, but then next week you'll want to sell him. If we get news that Foden starts and you've got 4 or 5 transfers and you want to sell him and you want to buy him and then sell him soon, then fine. But I don't think he's a good long-term hold. This guy never... I do my best to answer as many questions as possible, as fast as possible. I do apologise if I haven't got to your question or haven't seen your question. I'm just like going through the chat as fast as I can, trying to answer as much as possible. Right, let's have a look at some which aren't benching headaches. Sell Isak to Haaland? No. If Isak out is the only way to get Haaland, then I wouldn't do it. I don't mind buying Haaland, but Isak is not the one to sell. Isak's still the best forward in the game at the moment. 8 Nori or Hall? Probably Hall, but if you're playing Ahmad, then maybe you just play 8 Nori. But Hall is probably better than 8 Nori. Tempted to bench boost. Valdemarsson, Cunha, Gvardiol and Milenkovic. Yes, as long as Valdemarsson starts, but then it is Arsenal, so it's not the end of the world. I don't mind that bench boost at all, actually. I think it's a pretty strong one. If Cunha's actually on your bench, he's probably worth bench boosting for regardless of the rest, so yes. My camera has just gone off. It did this the other day. I will be back with you as soon as... Is it even charging? Ooh. Should be just charged. Hopefully we're back. This happened last stream as well. Cunha is not banned. Cunha is still available. So if you've got him, definitely start Cunha. Ahmad to Gordon, you have 3 free transfers. Ahmad to Gordon. Probably not. I still think Ahmad's a decent long-term hold. Alisson or Raya. Probably Raya. Start Rodgers or Enzo. Have Palmer and Jackson too. Rodgers over Enzo regardless of who else you own. Rico out for a Munoz for a -4. No, I wouldn't do that. I would just play... I play Rico. Here's Rico. Why do I like Iwobi? Just fixtures, and he's been very good this season. Like, the underlying data has not been fantastic, but he's passed the eye test a lot. So it depends if you have a look at eye test versus actual sort of football. But eye test he passes a lot. 1 free transfer, Ainori to Munoz and start over Robinson. or play both? And who'd I bench? Rodgers, Enzo, and João Pedro. I'd probably go Munoz and bench Enzo, probably. Start. We've done bench Bruno for Enzo or bring in someone like Odegaard. I mean, I'm benching Bruno for Enzo, so that is my current plan. Your Gordon comment made me want to go and get him now, as I don't see a difference in this week or next, other than I have more info. E7, I can't remember. Were you having a look at Isak for a hit? Like, or if you just like... I like Gordon a lot. I do like Gordon as a pick, so... Yeah. 1 free transfer, João Pedro to Jackson or roll. I probably would roll just because Jackson isn't 100% starts. I'd probably give Jackson a 60%, 70% chance of starting, which is probably too low for you to buy in this week, particularly for someone like João Pedro, who is very likely to start, is on penalties, and is likely to play 90 minutes if no Welbeck and no Ferguson as well. I mean, I don't know if we have... updates on Welbeck and Ferguson. What do I think about Trossard? Yeah, I think he's fine. I still think I'd prefer Martinelli over him, but I think both Martinelli and Trossard offer pretty good differentials. Yeah. I think they offer pretty good differentials. I probably would go Martinelli over Trossard, though. Fabianski, Justin, Saka out, Pickford, Trent and Iwobi. Yeah, nice. I would go Sarr over Iwobi if it was me. I think the Palace fixtures are really nice for the next sort of 6 weeks, but it's pretty close. And I don't mind the Iwobi punt. But I would buy Sarr over Iwobi. Let me put the benchings back up on the screen for you. If you are looking for benching rankings, they'll be up in 10 seconds for you. Take a look in the top right-hand corner as it will answer most of the benching questions being asked in the chat for today. Hopefully they're all up there for you now. They're all numbered as well. You have attackers and midfielders and defenders all in that ranking. 1 free transfer. Would I sell Jota to Gordon or roll? Would I take the chance that Jota starts or plays 30 minutes, or would I move to Gordon? I probably would make the transfer because even next week we don't know who's going to be first choice, so I probably would sell Jota to Gordon for free this week. Would I play 4-3-3 with Robinson or start Iwobi? I'd probably play Iwobi, but I'd really want to find a way. Oh no. I don't know why it doesn't look like it's charging. Give me a moment. I'll be back in a moment. Which one is it? Is that one? One moment. Why is Colwill bottom? Just because the attacking threat is not great. What happens if I unplug one of these for now? Let's try again. Let's try again. Let's see if it works. Does it say it's charging? It's just flashing 0 minutes at me. Doesn't feel great. But is the wire not in? Wondering if there's a problem with the wire. Anyway, we'll see if that works again. Evan Nilsson to Gabriel Jesus. Yes, I probably would do that. Evan Nilsson's been quite disappointing. Sell Semenyo to Sarr and bench Enzo. Sell Semenyo to Sarr and bench Enzo. I mean, probably not worth a transfer this week. If you've got 3 or 4, then maybe, but it feels pretty sideways. Feels very much like just clamour to buy Sarr rather than it being a real benefit to your team this week. what should I do with Gavardo? You have 0.8 and 1 free transfer. If you've got Gavardo, I would keep him and start him this week. I would keep him and start him this week. I mean, City are going away to Leicester. If you've got City, then you've just got to play them against that Leicester team. Thoughts on Enzo to Sarr or João Pedro to Mateta for a hit? Don't have any other Palace players. I'm not sure I'd do either of those. If I was going to do one, I'd probably do the Enzo to Sarr move, but I'm not sure it's worth a hit. Like, I wouldn't be doing it for free, so I don't think I'll be doing it for a hit. It's flashing out of battery at me. I don't like that. Why is it flashing? How do I see if it's charging? Start Enzo or Rodgers? Rodgers. Start Anderson or Huysen. Housen. Even. Yeah, am I sticking? Yeah, I'm going to roll my transfer this week. I just don't think there's a big enough upgrade that benefits me rather than rolling my transfers. And I actually plan on rolling my transfer going into game week 20 as well, even though my team will not look great. Like, we looked at it on Plan FPL. Game week 19 is this. Game week 20, like, I mean, the moment I've got João Pedro going against double arse defense, which I don't love. I could start Ahmad over João Pedro, but that's probably not a sensible thing to do. It might depend on how Ahmad looks. I've got triple Chelsea attack away at Crystal Palace. I've got Munoz starting. I could, in theory, start Mikalenko over Munoz, but it just doesn't feel great. Like, Salah playing against Bruno. Like, I've got 3 players in that game. 3 players in that game, 4 players in that game, and then Isak just on his own. My team next week doesn't look great. Doesn't fill me with much confidence. But that's where we're at for next week. First sub, Robinson or Ahmad? Robinson is better than Ahmad. So if it's one to start and one to bet, Robinson over Ahmad, basically, I would say. Start Ahmad or João Pedro. Ahmad over João Pedro. Start Jesus or Ahmad. If you've got Jesus, if you've got Arsenal attackers, you definitely play them. Even if you're not certain they start. But yeah, if you've got Arsenal attackers, they are definite starts for me this week. Why not Palmer for captain? I just think Salah is unstoppable. He hasn't blanked since game week 7. Yeah, Salah just seems unstoppable at the moment. Best time for bench boost. There will be a double game week in about game week 36, but it doesn't actually look like it's going to be a fantastic double for the bench boost. It's probably what a lot of people are going to aim for. If you get an actual opportunity to play it before then, I don't actually mind it. But that will probably be the big week that people go to play the bench boost. The only other one is game week. Is it game week 25? Depending on who you have, like Palace. If Everton get their double, Palace at home to Everton, Liverpool, like United away at Spurs. It's actually a pretty nice week. If let's say Everton, Liverpool get their double, like. I mean, I'd have to do something with Greaves in my team. But outside of that, we're at Chelsea. Chelsea have got Brighton away. It's not bad. I probably would just look to bench a few players, though. Who does Fabianski have? West Ham. Like, West Ham at home to Brentford. If Fabianski's back, like, game week 25, if they throw the Liverpool-Everton double in there, is probably the one that most people will look at. Free hit game week 20. I don't think I'll play my free hit. I think the free hit is going to be more useful in the blank in game week 34. I just don't like playing my free hit in a normal game week. I save it for a double or I save it for a blank. You said Ahmad over Pedro. Sorry, did I? I meant Pedro. I played Pedro over Ahmad. I don't think there's that much in it. I'm starting both. And if I had to bench one, let's say I sold Bruno. To be honest, if I sold Bruno, it would be Enzo that I dropped, given I've already got double Chelsea attack. João Pedro's on playing 90. He's on pens. Ahmad is playing for Manchester United team without Fernandes now. If Fernandes was there, maybe Ahmad would be higher up the ranking, but I do think I'd probably play João Pedro over Ahmad. Lots and lots of benching rankings. If I have Flecken, do I use a free transfer this week or roll? Got second Brentford keeper? If so, which keeper? If you've got a keeper, I probably would do Flecken to Henderson this week. And because if Brentford had a better fixture and you had the first and second choice, then yes. But Arsenal is not a great week for it, and the fixtures going forward for Brentford are also not great. So I personally would sell Flecken. If you've got a situation where you've got Flecken, Valdemarson, or Flecken, Fabianski, Flecken, Henderson, to me, is a transfer that I probably I'd probably make. No worries at all. Hall or Robinson, again, benching ranking is up. Robinson definitely over Lewis Hall. Definitely, you just play the home fixture. You play the better fixture. I know Hall's got Manchester United, but yeah. Curious as to know why start Ahmad over Enzo based on your bench list. You support tight decisions, but why? They are super tight decisions. Enzo's just not been quite as advanced recently as you'd probably want them to be. Ahmad is still involved in most things that Manchester United do going forward and when they do score goals. So I just think I'd play Ahmad. I mean, I do also have triple Chelsea attack, but I would play Ahmad over Enzo. Bench Mbeumo, Howson or Munoz. Well, you're definitely not benching Munoz. Howson versus Mbeumo. I probably favour the attacker who's on penalties and play Mbeumo over Howson. Mika, I do apologise. Which two to bench? Enzo, Mikalenko, Wood, Robinson. Oh, it is answered in my ranking, and I would bench Enzo, Mikalenko. Raya, Hall, Trent, Gabriel, Salah, Palmer, Rodgers, Iwobi, Martinelli, Jackson, benching headache, Cunha, Mikalenko, Greaves. I wouldn't bench Cunha. I'd play Cunha over Rodgers. I'd play Cunha over Jackson probably. I'd definitely play Cunha over Rodgers. Cunha, if you've got, you have to keep because he's looked so good. He's the highest scoring forward in the game at the moment. He goes away to a Spurs team who have no goalkeeper. They have no first choice centre-backs. He is a definite start, Cunha, if you own him this week. Why can't I use my second wildcard? They say you can after... No, you can't until the deadline. Once the deadline passes, you'll be able to use your next wildcard. So this is the last opportunity to play your wildcard if you have not already. You have 21 minutes to play your wildcard. I'm going to whack that benching ranking up for even longer. Where is it? Here. 60 seconds. Anderson or Mikalenko. I'd play Mikalenko. Strand Larson. I probably would be looking to sell. Gosha, I had a look. I definitely start Munoz and I'd play Mbeumo. I'd bench Howson. Munoz in for Aina. I wouldn't be selling a Forest defender. They do look great so far this season. Yeah. João Pedro, Castagna, Enzo. Bench one. Enzo. Kirkes versus Dallo versus Mikalenko. Pedro versus Rodgers. In defence, Dallo I definitely wouldn't start. Kirkes versus Mikalenko, I'd probably play Kirkes. And Pedro versus Rodgers, I'd play Rodgers out of the two. Why aren't I starting Mikalenko? I just don't know who I'd start him over. It doesn't feel great, but It doesn't feel great, but I just don't have anyone in my starting 11 I'd start him over. I just know what happens when I bench Mikalenko. He's going to go and get points. I just don't know. Let me know who you'd bench. Mikalenko over Ahmad, surely? No Bruno. Ahmad, really? I mean, if I was going to bench a midfielder, it would probably be Enzo. But, I mean, I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. What would a wildcard draft look like? If you're playing a wildcard, I did put a wildcard draft in my team selection video yesterday. It was basically answer everything. If you've got like general questions you want players to buy, most of it's in the top right hand corner. But if you want a wildcard draft, it is on the video from yesterday, so go and check that out. Bench Ahmad or Semenyo. I'd probably play Semenyo over Ahmad. Worth a -4 to bench boost. Henderson, Ahmad, Colwill, Castagna. I don't know what the -4 is, but if that was your bench, Henderson, Ahmad, Colwill, Castagna, I probably would bench boost it. I probably would. Play Pedro or -4 Bowen to Sarr and bench Pedro. I don't think Bowen to Sarr is worth a hit personally. Benching João Pedro for a hit, I don't particularly love. Football Bloods TV, I did have a look at your super chat. I did answer. Benching headache. I said I'd start Cunha over. Rodgers, and I'd probably start Mikalenko versus Hall's pretty close. I probably would play Mikalenko over Hall. Start with Ahmad or Mbeumo. Ahmad versus Mbeumo. Mbeumo probably over Ahmad, given he's on penalties, despite how difficult the fixture is, and on some set pieces as well. Diaz, Jesus, Jackson, Sarr, Rodgers. Rodgers is the bench out of that list. So many of you with benching headaches this week. Maybe it's just me, because I own Bruno Fernandes, that just doesn't have a benching headache really to make this week. I got Bruno, so I just don't have a decision to make because he's made up my mind for me. But everyone seems to be struggling. Basically, everyone who didn't buy Bruno last week has a nice... just has a nice decision to make. But yes, us Bruno owners are scrambling around in order to decide what to do. One sec. Isak or Jackson? Isak. Isak is the best forward in the game. If you still don't own Isak, he's up to what, 9.1 now. The returns have been crazy good. So yes, I would be getting Isak in above everyone else. Start Munoz or Gvardiol. If you've got any Palace players at home, Southampton, they are not in the benching ranking because they're so clear of everyone else to start. Jackson won't start. I mean, he might not. It's possible that he doesn't, but I'm holding out hope that he does because Chelsea are just a better team when he's in the lineup. Chelsea are just so much better when he's in there. Munoz at home, Southampton scares me. I mean, yeah, it's just the type of thing that is it looks so good on paper, and then he's going to end up getting like 2 points or something. But yes, I like the look of it as well. Mikalenko, João Pedro, or Iwobi. If I had to start one, I'd start Iwobi. Sanchez and Munoz, or Henderson and Cucurella. Munoz option. Play Larson or João Pedro. João Pedro. Flecken goalkeeper. If you have Flecken and no backup, I would sell Flecken to... I'd sell Flecken to Henderson, I think, with my transfer this week. Gomez, Lewis, Castagna can only play one. Probably Castagna. If you are in the situation, if you've got the situation where you have Flecken and another goalkeeper, or like Fabianski, Flecken, or Flecken and another, I think Henderson is the number one keeper I'd be looking to buy this week. Out of the two. That's probably where I'd be. Any news on Emil Smith Rowe? No. The shame with such fast turnarounds is we just don't really get updates on many bits of injury news. So we don't really have updates. We don't have updates on Flecken. We don't have updates on Fabianski. there's just not really much injury news knocking about at the moment. Things will go back to normal. This will be the last game week where we struggle to get news on stuff. But yes, sorry for this week. We just don't have very much news on injuries or anything. Will Bruno's price lock before predicted price drop? I don't know the answer to that. But I would hope that once people get to next week and he's not suspended, the sales will stop. Because if people are selling him, they'll probably sell him this week, and after the deadline, it will probably stop. So, and Burmo to Sar and Kirkes to Virgil for a -4 or not. Kirkes to Van Dijk for a hit is definitely not worth it. And Burmo to Sar, I don't mind. Sar does, and Burmo has the Southampton fixture next week though, so I think Burmo is a better pick. I think Mbeumo is a better pick over the next 2 weeks compared to Sar. Sar is better this week, but I wouldn't be selling either of those, I don't think. Amad or Odegaard? Odegaard, definitely. Odegaard's an interesting one. He's so involved in what Arsenal do, but I also don't massively feel like he's that scary in terms of getting a lot of returns. The other thing to say, though, when Odegaard gets a return, because of how involved he is so good for bonus points as a result. Like, I remember owning him a couple of seasons ago, and literally all I needed from him was an assist, and he'd get 2-3 bonus points every week. He wasn't scoring as many goals or getting as many assists as other players, but he didn't need to do as much as others because one return would be worth a lot more. Is basically where we're at. Start Wood or Amad, and would I take hits for Palace players? I wouldn't take hits for Palace players, and I'd start Chris Wood over Amad, I think. The camera has held out for now. Ainori to Munoz and start over Robinson or Roll? No. Ainori to Munoz is a transfer that I like, but I wouldn't do it for... it's a transfer I would do, but not if it gives you a benching headache. So, like, if it gives you a decision where you've got to then bench Robinson, it's not a transfer I do. In that situation. Sorry, I'm just taking a screenshot of my team because we've got 10 minutes to go, or 12 minutes, 10 and a half minutes to go to the deadline now. So we're getting close. No City team news. I've been checking everything. No City team news really on anything. Sorry, start João Pedro or Amad again. It's in the ranking. I'd play João Pedro over Amad. Just 90 minutes. We're still expecting him to play up front. He's on penalties as well. Money is not a problem. You need to sell Flecken. Would I still buy Henderson over Raya or Alisson? I actually think I would. I think I'd go Henderson or Pickford now. They're top of my goalkeepers to buy this week. Verbruggen out for Henderson or Roll. Feels like I need to get rid of Verbruggen ASAP. I do agree. Is this the week for it though? Like... next week he walks into Chelsea at home. Brighton have Arsenal. So yes, I probably would do it because I think it's better just for the long term to have Henderson over Verbruggen now. For free, yes. Standard name, I probably would. Standard name, I don't know if you saw, but you got gifted a membership. City team news, we have nothing as of yet, and I would be very surprised if we get anything personally. I would be surprised. Right, let's go. Why is Mykolenko higher in the benching rankings than Colwill? Because the clean sheet odds are pretty good. Everton are very good defensively, and I'm just not that confident on Chelsea at the moment. Start 1, Hall, Mykolenko, Anderson. Probably Mykolenko or Hall. Anderson being a centre-back is less exciting, so I probably would go Mykolenko, who I favour for a clean sheet more than Anderson, or Hall for his attacking threat. I do still probably think Manchester United at home do score in this game, so I would play Mikalenko over Hall, probably. Bench 1, Jesus, Rodgers or Jackson. Rodgers is the one. I'd play your attackers there. Mikalenko or 8 Nori for this game week. I'd probably play Mikalenko and hope for a clean sheet. Mikalenko versus Pedro Porro is quite an interesting one. I probably would go with Mikalenko because I just think Wolves will score. Semenyo versus Visa, probably Semenyo out of those two. What am I doing? I am rolling my transfer this week. So I will be starting Bruno this week. I'll be starting him. Who plays first? Who plays first? Palace, I can't bench. Chelsea, I could bench. Oh no, hang on, that's game week 20. I was going to say, because we play Monday night. Palace, Everton, Forest, Fulham, Bournemouth, I don't really have. I can't bench Salah, so it doesn't really make much difference. It's probably either the Man United or it's Enzo. So I'll leave it like that. I will leave it like that, and I will just get the auto subs. A 5-minute cooldown won't work wonders in this chat. Mikalenko or Anderson start 1. Mikalenko over Anderson. Would I start Alisson or Sanchez? Probably Alisson. Always the... If you've got a keeper like Alisson, I mean, that's a lot of money you're spending on goalkeepers, but Alisson over Sanchez this week. Rodgers or Robinson? Probably Robinson, to be honest. He looks so good against Chelsea again. Start Robinson in the back 4 or Gordon in for a -4. If it's like Gordon in for Bruno, just play Robinson. I don't know who you're selling in that situation, but yeah. Does De Bruyne start? I don't know. I don't know. I find it hard to even predict as well. I find it hard to even predict who's going to start. Mikalenko or Visa? I'd probably say play Mikalenko and bench Visa against Arsenal. Arsenal have let up no chances recently. Start Semenyo or João Pedro and why? I'd probably go João Pedro. 90 minutes on penalties, playing up front. You're getting Robinson auto sub for Bruno. If I could bench Munoz for Bruno, I would, but I can't. So it is Enzo Fernandes who is going to be the auto sub. He'd also be the one that I would bench anyway, actually. So is it an interesting week for a back 4? I know actually some people are looking at back 4s this week. Maybe Mikalenko is a better pick, but yeah. Why are people leaving not available players in their starting 11? Just so you get an auto sub and it boosts your rank like late in the game week. It's just a little bit of a mentality thing. It doesn't do any difference. So sell or hold Bruno. If sell, who to replace? I mean, I'm holding Bruno, so that would probably be my recommendation now. Bench 1, Semenyo, Enzo, or João Pedro. Enzo would be the one I'd bench out of those. I'm going to put... The ranking is up in the top right-hand corner in a moment. Anyway, so again, if you're asking about benching rankings, it will be in the top right, which does answer most of them. We don't have an update on injuries to either Flecken or Fabianski. If you don't have a backup and you own them, I would be looking to sell, and I would be looking to buy Henderson or Pickford as the other two. If you've got Rodgers and João Pedro, I'd start Rodgers over João Pedro. Enzo Fernandes is lower down the benching ranking just because he's not been as attacking recently. Manchester City team news, we don't have very much of it yet. We don't have any of it yet. Predictions are that Foden probably does start, but we don't know that. Lewis and Gvardiol are also both predicted to start, but we don't really know much more than that as well. So nothing really on City. Benching ranking is in the top right if you are in need of that now as well. I am rolling my transfer. Captain Salah, vice captain on Palmer. So yes. Sarr or Eze and why? Sarr is just a better pick. He's playing more advanced. Minutes are more secure. Sarr over Eze. Is Isak a differential captain? Probably not. Like Salah, Palmer look great this week. So it would be on one of those. Palmer will be a differential captain, but yeah. Start 3 of them. Burmo, Robinson, Rodgers and Hall. I probably would bench Lewis Hall out of those ones. What else have we got going on in the chat? We have 5 minutes to go to the deadline. So we're just going to do 5 minutes of rapid fire questions for you all. Let's go, because my team is locked in. Why Levi Colwill below Lewis Hall? Because Lewis Hall has more attacking threat, and I do think Ipswich score. They are next to each other in the ranking, which does mean it's pretty close between the two of them, but I do think I'd probably play the attacking threat of Lewis Hall. What did you just say, Mikalenko over Anderson? Your ranking says otherwise. Do I have Mikalenko in the ranking? Oh, sorry. The Fulham defence really refers to the fullbacks rather than Anderson. I've changed it now. There you go. Used for 1 free transfer on Pickford this game week. You have Flecken. Yes, I would be selling Flecken if you own him. Rumours, Foden, Lewis. I don't know where I've seen those. If you want to send me anything on City team news, if you want to tag me in anything, do so in the comments. But that's the fake FPL main road, Majed. That is not real. Main Road has not tweeted it. Please be careful before the deadline with team news. We had it last week as well. Colwill or Robinson? Definitely Robinson. Who else? What else have we got? Who to start among Enzo, Bowen, Hall and Robinson, and who to play first sub if Enzo doesn't play? If I can only play one of them, I'd play Robinson. Probably then Bowen, then Enzo, then Hall, probably like that. Or maybe, yeah. Gavardiol or Castagna? Probably Castagna. Bench 1. Sorry. Bench Timber or Ahmad? Timber or Ahmad? I'd play Timber over Ahmad. Gavardiol or Castagna? Castagna over the City defenders. Start João Pedro or Rodgers. Rodgers over João Pedro. Selva, Bruggen. If you can go for free to Henderson or Pickford, I probably would do that this week. It was Booney. Yep, don't worry, I'm on it. He's blocked as well now, so I don't even have the risk of it. Any City leaks? No, nothing. Nori or Enzo? I'd play Enzo. I'd favour the attacker. Jota, do I think he starts? Personally not, but you can take the gamble on it. Nkunku will start ahead. Will start. Should bench Jackson? I personally think that Jackson will start, but I may well be wrong. I was wrong last time that he got benched. Colwill is 4th defender or play João Pedro. I'd play João Pedro over Levi Colwill. Olaraina or Mikalenko, I'd probably play Olaraina. We are also... It is into the final minute before the deadline, so that'll be the final bits of questions I have time to answer. Please go and check your teams. Make sure everything is in place as it should be as we go into the deadline. That is going to be the 1 o'clock deadline. That will be everything for you. We will not be answering any more questions. Go and check out everything you need. Make your final transfers. Check in your team. That will be all for game week 19. We are officially halfway through the season of FPL. It is about to update. We are officially going to be halfway through the season of FPL when we hit 1 o'clock. Go and check in your teams. Thank you all very much for joining. If you're heading off now, drop a like on the stream. Subscribe before you go. Thank you all very much, as always, for the 150,000 subscribers. Just absolutely mental. From next week, the streams will be back to normal in my usual setup, and I cannot wait. Thank you very much for putting up with things looking a little bit different, schedules being a little bit different over the Christmas period as well. I'm very grateful for your support over Christmas and putting up with it. But from this time next week, we will be back to everything as normal as well. But we're going to do team news. We're going to do fantasy challenge as well. So do hang around if you want to be involved in all that good stuff. Halfway through the season. What a time, hey? FPL challenge, yes. we will do that now. Fantasy challenge. We do have 15 minutes to go. We will, of course, wait for the team news on Manchester City versus Leicester as well. Let me tweet my team first. Festive fixtures. Final countdown. The formation must be 2-0-0-2-5. Interesting. Interesting one. What's my pizza order from Domino's? Normally anything with a lot of meat on and some jalapenos or something like that. FPL Gameweek 19 team. Fantasy challenge. Yes, we are going to. What's my total points in FPL? I think 1,177, I think, is what I put in my video, but I'm all good. I'm actually very good. I've just finished my cup of tea. It's very cold, though. I miss my mug that keeps my tea warm. Ahmad will be on penalties. I don't think that's the case. I'd almost be certain that it's... it might be... If Højlund starts, I'd imagine it's Højlund. Barbecue sauce, no. No. Normal sauce. Sorry, I need to tweet my team. Transfer rolled. Line Salah. Cap. Good luck. And happy Sunday. Sorry, I'm just posting my team. I'll be one moment. Andy, Let's Talk FPL went Mateta and Munoz. Did he? If Rashford plays, he'll take them. I don't think that's a... I don't think that's a particular fear. I'm just going to post the Instagram one with... Because it crops it. So I'm just going to post it with... Actually, no, it should be okay. There we go. 1 second. Right. Sorry, we're back. Let me lower the slow mode. I've posted everything now. Slow mode, let's make it much lower. What's my beer of choice when watching a game? I'm actually a Guinness drinker, but not at the football, really. I don't really drink when I watch sport that much, to be honest. I'm not a big drinker. People who know me will know I rarely drink very much. Whatever's going, to be honest. What's the next chips usage entry? I imagine Game Week 24-25, when we get assistant manager, there's also likely to be a double and stuff like that. That's when people will start to play chips and stuff. But let's do fantasy challenge now that we are here. Is it just no double points or anything? Just unlimited budget? Okay. I'm going to go Henderson and I'm going to go Pickford in the midfield. I mean, is it really boring just to pick Salah and Palmer? And then up front, Haaland. Mateta. Boom, 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 boom. Mateta's in the room. Da, 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 da. Who's next? Watkins. I don't know who else I want. Any suggestions on the final forward for my team? Any final suggestions for the forwards in my fantasy challenge team? Cunha. Yeah, actually, given he's going to punish me in normal FPL. Haaland captain, as always, every single week. No Cunha or Solanke. I've gone Cunha. Cunha, right. Ben me. Cunha is in. That's what we're going with the fantasy challenge team. Just to talk about future plans for those of you who like that a little bit. This is what my team looks like for next week. It's not fantastic, but I hope that I can roll the transfer. It may be a João Pedro replacement if he disappoints again, but there are some good fixtures coming up for them afterwards, and I don't really know where I'd go next week for a... If someone at Arsenal looks good again, then maybe I look for that. Yeah, if someone at Arsenal looks good, I could go there. But outside of that, there's not really that many obvious places for me to go that is good both for next week and good for the long term as well. So, yeah. I mean, I could do Greaves to someone else, like Greaves to Robinson and bench and play a 4-4-2 or something like that. So there are a few things I want. Like, if I did Greaves out... and then, sorry, I know that's going to be really, really small for you. If I do Greaves out to Robinson, for example, next week, I could, in theory, bench João Pedro. I could play that, which looks okay. Like, but then I just have a benching headache like every week between Robinson and Munoz. But maybe that's something I have a look at. But yeah, we're basically hoping that we can probably roll next week and just take a difficult game week. Also have to base it off Robinson not being suspended next week and the same for Jackson. Is Robinson on 4 yellows? Let me get it up. Premier League yellow cards. Yeah, Luco is FPL Alexander-Arnold. Ainori's on 4. Where's Fulham? Oh, Robinson. No, Robinson is now on 4 yellows. I mean, I'd be surprised. This is the last week. Rodgers also has 4, yeah, but this is the last week for a lot of them. I hope loads of them. I hope Rodgers gets a yellow card. Or Robinson, but I'd be very surprised. Players will be on their best behaviour now with it being the last game that they need to get by. But yeah, this is what we ended up locking it in with. Let me have a look if there's any team news or anything. We've got 5 minutes to go until the FPL deadline. Oh, my legs are going to sleep. Oh. Jackson's on 4 yellows too. Yeah, he is. FPL deadline has passed. Yes. This is my team. Did I watch the darts? I haven't watched that much of it this year. Last year I watched loads of it. Fantasy challenge we have done. Yeah, any questions you have? FPL questions, non-FPL questions. I do watch the darts. Often I try and do my best to catch as much of it, particularly Luke Littler and stuff like that. But last year I watched a lot of it. I do keep slow mode on. It just stops people like copy and pasting and spamming stuff, but I'll put it down to 5 seconds. Am I single? No, I am engaged. My green screen's falling down. I know, but we're just going to leave it like that. My favourite bird. Does like, is a penguin a bird? Can I say a penguin? Where is Domino's you ordered? I haven't ordered Domino's. I haven't had it in a while. Probably will be a while before I have it again. What's my New Year's plans? I don't have that. Oh, Holly and I are going somewhere together for New Year, which will be nice. And then we're going back to London after that. Penguins are birds. Well, then penguins. I'm a big penguin guy. Pigeons. Today will be Pep Guardiola's 500th game in charge of Manchester City in all competitions. Erling surely scores. Surely. You just had the Dominoes, did you? What did you have? I'm not considering João Pedro de Jesus. Just the early sub doesn't mean... Sorry, one sec. I got distracted. Penguins tell good jokes. That's very good. Would I start Bowen or Semenyo just to check if you got it right? Bowen versus Semenyo. Duncan, that question was fine. How do I Oh, that was fine. Bowen or Semenyo? I probably would have played Semenyo, but it's really close. London is pricey to live in. It is, absolutely. We will not be living there forevermore. That is for sure. All the best. Why would I start Pedro over Enzo? Enzo's going to get subbed in for Bruno Fernandes anyway, so it doesn't actually make a difference. But I would start Pedro over Enzo. Yes. Who's rising in price? I'm not going to show the price predictor sites at deadline because they're all really inflated because people make loads of transfers into the build up to the deadline. And after the deadline, it slows down quite a lot. So, yes. All good, Duncan. Do I think Jota will start? Probably not. My prediction would be no. Favourite bird? Turkey. Currently cooking a turkey, bacon stuff and toasty. Adrian, that's very nice, but I think when people ask me my favourite bird, they don't ask what I like to eat the most because I'm not sure that's what they're after. But I hope, please send us a picture of your sandwich because I would like to see that. It sounds great. Would I ever thought of moving out of London? If yes, where would I move to? Yes, I am planning on leaving London at some point over the next couple of years. And moving closer to my family and Holly's family as well. So yes, we are planning on leaving London, particularly because I used to work in London, so that was part of the benefit of being there. But of course, I don't work in London anymore. What do I think of Gakpo? I think he's a great player and he's a great pick when he starts, and he does look pretty favourable at the moment, so I don't mind it at all. There's just a small chance that it's not Gakpo that starts, given he played a few days ago. Would I have done a -4 Saar for Kluivert? Probably, but not guaranteed. Kane, I actually got tickets to the game on Boxing Day. I didn't go. Holly and her sister went to the Spurs game and saw them win 1-0. I didn't go, but I did get tickets for it in the end. They are Forest fans before you're wondering. What time is it? Is it City? Oh, it is City team news. Right. We'll continue with the questions in a second. Happy New Year in advance, Harry. Hopefully another year chasing green arrows. That is always the aim. Oh, wow. He bought Eze and Munoz. Saliba, Fernandes, Jimenez to Anderson, Eze and Isak. Oh, we already had Munoz. Rolled the other transfer. Have a feeling you'll regret not doing Saar. The additional money over Eze is likely to come in handy. Hopefully Mateta is off the pitch for a pen at some point. Interesting. Home end, yes, it was. Not going in the Spurs end. Let me get the Man City team news for you all. Let me hide that. Here we go. You can't see that. The whole thing's just broken on me. There we go. Lewis starts. Gavardio starts. Akanji, Ake, Kovacic, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Savinho, Foden and Haaland. So it's a pretty strong City lineup. Pretty strong City lineup. That. Still no Ederson in goal. Walker not starting. No Gundogan. No Gundogan, Doku, Walker, Grealish on the bench. So yeah, it's a pretty strong City lineup, and everyone who's owned by anyone starts. We've just got to hope that Leicester score again and wipe their clean sheet out, and it works okay for us. But this is how we went into the lineup. Anyway, let's see if there's any more questions. Crystal Palace player, regret coming through. I mean, I've owned Munoz. Effectively, Munoz has scored me 7-6-7. No, 7-6. Because I got an auto sub that week. Who would I have started? Anderson or Howson? Probably Howson, but that's really close. Maybe I would have gone for the player at home. Do I think Jackson will start? I'm hoping he will. I do think there's an okay chance that he doesn't. Mikalenko is my sub for him. If he doesn't get any minutes, is okay, but he probably will get some minutes. What did everyone else do? What did Ross do? Chris Wood, I'm always a big fan of his. Lewis to Munoz. João Pedro to Mateta. Interesting. See, like, the only thing with that, Lewis to Munoz I like, but it's then giving him a benching headache every week in his defence. That's the only thing. What's the difference in our team? So Trent, Munoz, Gabriel is the same. Raya versus Sanchez. Enzo, Palmer, Salah. I've got Rodgers versus Ahmad, Isak. And then I've got Jackson, João Pedro versus Cunha, Mateta. Ross's team is better. What did Oscar do? Focal. What did Oscar do? Van Heck to Munoz. Everyone joining me on the Munoz bandwagon. Outrageous. He's played a 4-3-3. Oh, nice. Oh, it's because I haven't refreshed the page. Like, I know when the deadline is coming not to refresh the page, because otherwise I get, like, that the deadline's passed. So, yes. Just don't refresh the page, basically, and I can keep it up for the end of the stream. Just putting out there, I don't know who that is. When I plan for wildcard, probably not for a while, probably later on. I'm probably looking about game week 30 to use my second wildcard. Oscar bench, Semenyo, and Bowen. I saw Bowen benched. I didn't see the Semenyo on his bench. Oh, yeah, he has. Wildcard is later. You went Saka to Sarr and Mosquera to Munoz. I quite like that. How old am I? I'm 26 years old. KDB in challenge. I could do De Bruyne. Oh. I mean, I've got Salah and Palmer. I don't really want De Bruyne in there. What week are we shipping out João Pedro? I feel he's costing us points when Cunha scores. Yeah, just hoping Cunha gets banned at some point, really. I can't really go to get... I can't really go and buy him again now. Jesus or Robinson, I would have played... Jesus out of those two. Anyway, that is going to be the stream. A few final FPL questions rolling in, but we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you all very much for joining the stream. We are going to be back in next Saturday. It'll be back to normal FPL deadlines, which will be nice. Hopefully things I get lucky. Let's hope Ahmad scores. Let's hope João Pedro scores, and let's hope Jackson at least starts. Anyway, fingers crossed. Thank you all very much for joining. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday. Good luck with your FPL weeks. Good luck with the start of stuff going back to normal. Although Monday is the 30th and then it's bank holiday. But anyway, have a good week when it does come around tomorrow. There will be stuff over the next couple of days on the channel as well. Thank you very much. Have a good one. And I will see you all very soon.